to Art and Yoga from Home, brought to you by Munson Williams Proctor Arts Institute in Utica, New York. I'm Mary Murray. I'm the curator of modern and contemporary art. It's my great pleasure to participate in this program, and I'm delighted that you're here as well. Thanks for joining. I'll begin with a conversation about a work of art in the museum's collection by artist Phil Young, and at 10:30, yoga practice begins. If you're able, please leave a donation, and that will help us be able to continue this program. Thanks. For those of you who are regular attendees of this class, you'll know that in recent weeks I've been talking about refugees and immigrants to the United States, and particularly to Utica, which is a refugee resettlement city. Today, instead, though, I'd like to talk about Indigenous people, because on July 11th, 1968, the American Indian Movement, AIM, was founded in Minneapolis by Dennis Banks, Russell Means, and Vernon and Clyde Bellecourt. And it was a civil rights movement to protest the treatment of urban Indians by police and the justice system. In its 50 years since, AIM continues to be a protest movement, but also is an advocacy organization for education and employment concerns, for land and treaty rights, and also is an important educational forum to reclaim lost cultural heritage. Phil Young was born in Oklahoma in 1947. He describes his family and ancestry as, on his father's side, Cherokee and Scottish, who were sharecroppers, and Irish immigrant farmers on his mother's side, all of whom met in Oklahoma after having been displaced from their original homeland. The Irish, of course, fleeing the potato famine that was brought on by policies of the British government, and the Cherokee from Georgia and the Carolinas through the Trail of Tears march brought on by the U.S. government. Phil grew up with a real love of the land, the red clay of Oklahoma. As early as a boyhood, gardening with his grandmother. And he describes the earth as being sacred, as being numinous and holy. And he has said that the twin monsters of greed and progress are a desecration to this holy place, that is the earth. He's lived in upstate New York, having been a professor of art at Hartwick College in Oneonta for many years, and he's now retired. And he says even though he's been here for so long, the red clay of Oklahoma still runs through his veins. Let's look a little bit more closely at this drawing, which has a curious title. Day Labor, Meeting the Friendly Scorpion to Feed the Shark, number 14, from 2008. What does that mean? What is this picture? Well, for starters, Phil, as a young artist student, was taught by artists who were trained in the abstract expressionist tradition. That is the expressive painting style that we associate with artists like Jackson Pollock, if you're familiar with his work. And Phil found this emotional kind of painting, this very painterly outpouring, as appropriate for his concerns, which are this reverence for the land coupled with an expression about the violent history against indigenous people at the hands of Europeans and then the American government. He frequently uses this red clay material, and he sometimes has mixed it with mica from New York State. And he describes washing the material ceremoniously, that it's a cleansing, but it's also an acknowledgement that water has been used as a bludgeon against Native people. This image that we're looking at, what does the title mean? Well, Phil has multiple sclerosis, so the feeding the shark has something to do with the medication that he has to take. He describes sweeping up, metaphorically and perhaps literally, his studio floor. I'll read a little bit of a statement he made about that. Shredded copper wire, hair, and feathers are mixed with crusted artifact syringes collected from over 9 years of daily injections, leftovers of feeding the multiple sclerosis shark to try to keep it from progressing so quickly. The tactile quality of the red clay is a physical presence, more so than just a two-dimensional drawing. But we do see layers of pigment and some scratching into the surface of the drawing as well. And some of that can be attributed to Phil's connecting to his Cherokee heritage. He grew up without the language. His family actually spoke Creek, but it is only in his adulthood that he has been trying to learn the language and the written portion of it. So that kind of scratching represents a childlike attempt at learning this new voice, if you will. He also speaks about the heritage that has been so badly exploited in the United States. And when he was trying to learn the Cherokee language, he said, "I can't speak Cherokee, but I can say Jeep Cherokee." So his work, in addition to this kind of multimedia drawing, also can extend to very overtly political installations about junk that's created in China that's marked genuine Indian. Phil's work has been very consciousness raising for me, and I hope that you will take a look at work such as this book that I have used for the quotations today about Phil's work. It's called Sovereign Bones, and it's a volume, New Native American Writing, and it includes comments and essays by people like Sherman Alexie and Joy Harjo, and the artist John Quick-to-See Smith, and many others. Highly recommended. In closing, I'd like to share a comment by Phil that I think describes his work in his own language. If I can find it here, I'll share it with you, that is. No, I can't find it. Oh, wait, here it is. The significant reasons that I identify myself as a multimedia artist are rooted in my mixed lineage and early childhood experiences. Thank you again for joining me. I wish you good health and good spirits. And until next time, namaste.